So welcome to my channel. So in this video, I'm going to be comparing this model. So the Qwen Flash 9 billion Cure 4KM, I'm going to be comparing this model with the GLM 5.2 model. So basically, I'm going to be giving them a prompt. So this is the prompt I'm going to be giving them. I'm going to be asking them to build me an agent, a full stack agent. So they're going to be building this full stack. So this is what I'm going to tell them to do. So you're going to be building a full stack production ready video generation agent with the following requirements. They're going to be using AgentScope. So AgentScope is this framework for building agentic applications. So if you're not aware of what AgentScope is, this is the AgentScope repo. So for me, AgentScope is kind of like the best when it comes to building agents. So this is all you need to initialize your agent. So it's quite simple. So this is how you initialize your agent. So where is the code for the agent? Let me show you. Let's take it gradually. So this is it. So this is your agent. This is the minimal setup for your agent. This is your agent with tools. So you just add the tools, and the tools are pretty defined within the framework. So you just say bash tool, edit tool, grep tool, read tool, write tool, and all of it will be added to your model. So this is quite crazy. So if you have like context configuration, this is all you need to do. Compacting, everything building. This is amazing. So this is not an AgentScope class, so I'm not going to be talking about AgentScope so much. So let's go back and look at our prompt. So in this prompt, we're going to be using AgentScope. We're also going to be using HyperFrames. So it's going to be using HyperFrames. It's going to be using HyperFrame from HeyGem. So this actually builds like motion graphic, kind of like using HTML and CSS. So we're going to be using this. And then for TTS, I didn't actually specify anyone. So I asked it to use any open choice of its choice. So the agent is going to choose which one is going to use. For front end, we're going to be using Vue.js. So this is kind of like what we are going to be. This is what we are going to be doing. So deliverables will be a full project structure. So it's going to be giving us the code with Docker Compose file to just easily spin it up. So this is what we're going to be doing. So before we do that, I'm going to be using Qwen. So some of you might be wondering, Qwen is not just a normal agent. It also has ability to create agents. And you can create agents. There's a code mode. You can even edit your code. You could write code within Qwen. I think Qwen is just doing so much. So because of that, we're going to be creating agents. So I'm going to be creating agents for this experiment. So I'm going to be creating the first engineer. So this is going to be called engineer 1. And then we're going to call this, we're going to give this engineer 1, we're going to tell it this is going to be for GLM 5.2. So this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use all the building tools. So the building tools that came with the model. So we're going to choose that one, except the scrappling tools that actually does the job for me. This tool actually just crawls any single website. It doesn't even care whether it's Cloudflare. It gets the job done. So I'm going to add that, and then I'm just going to save. So we've created engineer 1. Let's go and create engineer 2. So we're going to create the next agent. So this is going to be called engineer 2. So engineer 2 is going to be, so this one is going to be Qwen. So it's going to be using this model. So it's going to be based on the model we are talking about. So this is it. So I'm going to also choose the building tools and add the almighty scrappling scale. So I'm going to save this. That's all I need to do. So the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to switch to those models. So let's go back to where those models are. So we're going to go to engineer 1. Let's go all the way to engineer 1. So this is engineer 1. We're going to make sure that the model is selected. So it's selecting AgentScope here. So I need to change it to GLM 5.2. So I need to make sure that this model is selected. So let's go to the chart mode here. So let's refresh. It looks like, see? So let's see. Pretty much it looks like it's already initialized. Oh, let me see this one. Pretty much they are already initialized. So what we are going to do next is we're just going to give them the prompt. So, and let them work. We're going to give them the prompt and let them work. So what I'm going to do right now is that I'm just going to paste the prompt. So where's the prompt? So this is the prompt. So the prompt, I've actually explained this to you. So what they're going to do is that they're just going to go build. We're just going to give them the opportunity to build. So I'm just going to copy the entire prompt here. So let me open it here so that we could see it very well. So I'm just going to take the entirety of this from the beginning all the way to the end. And then we're just going to give it to both agents. So let's go back. So let's give it to both agents. So switch back to Qwen. And then I'm just going to give it to this. I'm just going to paste it here. And I'm just going to make sure that they are on mission mode. So mission mode means they are going to run until it's completed. So let me take everything out with a Control Z. So I'm just going to make sure that everything is taken out. So now I can be on mission mode. So mission mode, launch mission, automatically decompose and implement. So mission mode makes Qwen to kind of run for a long time. So I'm just going to also show you another hack. Another hack is actually in configuration. So if you want Qwen par to actually execute in maximum number of iteration is 100. What stops you from making it like 150? So it's going to run longer. So if that's what you want, so you could save this and then you could come back here. So basically here we just need to hit it. So it's going to be using this local model. Let's see how far it's going to fare. So I'm going to hit it here and let's see what happens. So we're going to do the same thing for Engineer 2, which is actually based on GLM 5.2. And then I'm just going to paste this one here. So, and then we're going to give it some time and then we're going to come back to check. So what is going to happen is that it's going to decompose the task. So you see already what is happening. It said this is a massive, ambitious project. Let me think carefully on how to approach it. So this is GLM 5.2. It's talking about the back end, the video, the TTS, the front end, and it's already doing some work. All right, Sabi Coder, this is a serious build. Let me start by researching the actual state of these libraries before I write a single code. Oh my God, this is what I want you to do. I want you to research everything about the library before you build. So now you say, good, I understand. So he understands something. So that AgentScope 2.0, he understands. Now let me check HyperFrame and AgentScope docs. So it's going to look at AgentScope docs, and this is exactly what I want them to do. So let's check how the local model is also performing. So, oh, look at what it's saying. It says, I'll build a production-ready system. Let me start by researching. So he's also doing some research as well. So you could see here, he's also doing some research as well. So we're going to give it some time to do his research, and we'll come back and see how both models were able to fare. So this is actually free. It's running on my PC. This model actually has some amazing stats here. As you could see here, there are some wild claims here on how it beats GPT 5.4 on some benchmarks. So you could check the docs as well. So you could see here, let me show you. Let me go gradually. I'm going to show you. So this is how it performs in some, although you're not coding information search. So it's basically going to look for information very well on the internet, better than GPT 5.4. So for memory management, you could see how crazy it even beats GPT 5.4. And then you could see here for schedule automation and document passing, it also performs better than GPT 5.4. This is actually crazy for an actually small model, very small model. So I'm using actually the 9B version of this model. This model is actually based on Qwen 3.5. I get so let's see. You see here. So it's based on Qwen 3.5 9 billion. So I'm actually using a 9 billion parameter model, putting it in the same test, testing it with the almighty GLM 5.2 that is built for long horizontal tasks, they say, with an amazing. So you could see how they are actually making some wild claims here. So you see, this is an obtuse level model. You know, this model is actually amazing. So we are not talking about, so for front end, for post-train bench, all these benchmark, I think for the one I actually respect isn't even here. I don't actually know all these benchmark. I think there's a benchmark. Let me see the Terminal Bench 2.1. This is the one I'm actually very much aware of. I think it does pretty well here too. So it does like 3.5. Okay, this is it. This is 81.0. And then this is the obtuse, which is 85. So you could say almost at the same level. So let's go back and check how the tax is pretty going. So you could see here that the model is just pretty doing its thing. So it's thinking good. So it's doing some research. So now let me research. So it's just good. I've created. So he's doing some of his stuff. So I think it's just pretty too fast. But let's see. And let's actually see how this one is faring. Oh my God. This guy is already eating it. So what is this guy doing? He's actually decomposing the entire repo. Man, he's digging into the code base and actually looking at, oh my God. Oh my God. He's actually looking at all the stuffs. So basically what I forgot to do is that I would have actually given them a good model to use. But that doesn't matter. Let them go ahead and do their stuff, you know? Let them go ahead and just do their stuff. And let's see where they get to. So I'm going to be coming back at some point where both are done and kind of like show you what they were able to do, what they weren't able to do. So that this could also guide you in knowing how far these models can actually perform. How can a 9 billion parameter model perform given the same tools and skills to if a GLM 5.2 obtuse level model locally on your piece. So let's just take a look at what the 9 billion parameter model has been doing. So let's see. Generally, just to pick, so it has defined the folder structure. I think it's not bad. So you have config, you have agent. So you see it decided to have a base agent, coordinator, script writing agent, TTS agent, and render agent. Quite cool. It also has like API endpoints as well for job management, model management, depending on what models. So this is, and then it has services as well. So I think this is pretty nice. And then it has gone as well as to create an architecture.md. So you could see what a 9 billion parameter model is doing. This is pretty nice. So let's see. And you could see detail of what he's saying, planning, script generation, audio, and you could see what it's actually doing. So it's actually creating engineer's configuration and it's building our Docker Compose file, pretty much expecting that we're going to use ZAI API key, which is actually great because I'm actually going to be passing this key to it. I didn't tell it all these stuffs. Basically, this model is just doing well. So let's check the other one out as well. So here, it pretty went and downloaded the entire documentation. So let's just have a peek of what it's actually doing. So let's see now front end using Pinia, or it created so many files, but it doesn't have an architect. Is this really true that the other model is pretty good when it comes to information gathering? Let's just give it some time and see. So it's beginning to make some mistakes by itself and correcting itself. So to be very honest, the way it stands now, I really like what this 9 billion parameter model is actually doing. So to be very honest, it's pretty slow. So I'm just going to give it some time. I think this has nothing to do with the models. I think they are pretty... It's just the system. So I'm going to come back when everything is done and give you the update. So as you could see here, GLM 5.2 is done, and it said done and tested. It wrote about 20 tests and say all of them passed. But let's check out the other one. So this one is still on it. So in terms of speed, you can already see that GLM is faster. So although from the initial part when it started, it looks like this was acting as if it was faster, but at the end, you see GLM supersedes. So in terms of speed of completion, GLM has actually won. So let's wait for this to finish, and then we can actually see what they came up, like what was their first solution like. So from the look of things, it seemed like all the models have gotten the job done. So if we come back to this Qwen, so it's done, but they happen to be running on the same port. They claim to be running on the same port. So at the same time, you could also see like the GLM 5.2 is also done. But one of the things I see here, just by looking, you kind of like have a feel of like, so all of them are using AgentScope. So everything looks like modern UI, job creation. So it's crazy. It says done. So let's kind of like preview the code before we test and see what happens. So here we have the code for the video agent. So you could see this is for the open source model. So look at what it did. So let's just take a look at the backend a little bit. So in the backend, we have the agent folder. So let's see the base agent and let's see what it did here. So it created this base agent. So let's see the coordinator. So where is it inheriting this base agent from? Okay, it's just a coordinator agent. From just looking at things here, I don't think like, I'm not seeing anything AgentScope here. So there's no AgentScope here. So let's see. So it wrote all these agents, but I didn't actually see AgentScope in any of them, which means it didn't use AgentScope. So let's look at the API here. It wrote some endpoints. Although in the requirement of TST here, it lists AgentScope 0.1.0, but I can't find AgentScope in the agents. So I don't just see. So this TCS agent, all of them are just, it's kind of like creating an agent class and creating the execute method here. I'm yet to see where the agent actually being called. So render agent. So let's see the script writer. At least here we should see how the LLM is being called. So script writer inheriting from base. I'm not actually seeing any. So let's switch to the other one and see a little bit. So let's switch to code mode. So here is the video studio. So here let's go to the back end. I think we could see. So one of the things we want to look at is let's look at the agent. So I want to see the agent folder. So there's a coordinator agent, and immediately we start looking at it. Let's see, there's a class called coordinator. So I didn't also see anything there. So let me just see the script writer agent because this is important. So yes, I've seen the agent class here. So you could see here, this is what I was looking for. Maybe I need to look deep into the code very well, the other side, to know if it has this agent. So you see React agent here, and then we could see where the React agent. So you see AgentScope is clear. So you see here that GLM 5.2 is actually using AgentScope. So that's what I want. And then when we come back to the models, we see here that it's using OpenAI. So we could provide it an API key. So it's trying to use this model, but I think it also gives the opportunity for us to use like GLM. So server wise, I think it looks pretty great. So let's look at our Docker file. So this is not bad. And then it's using kind of like the latest version of AgentScope. So I'm going to be starting both of the applications because of time. And I'm just going to be showing you the initial looks of how the application look like. So now we're going to check this result to see how both performed. As I told you earlier, in the code base for the Qwen, I couldn't really see the use of AgentScope, but the side is up at this URL, and same for the GLM 5.2. You can also see here it is up on this, so we could actually see them here. So this one is up on 6032. So this is the UI for the GLM 5.2. So this is how it looks like. So it's asking for a prompt here. Submit a prompt. So basically I'm going to click here. I think this is what they mean. So I will just say you on agent. So let's see what it will do. So just this. So 60 seconds. Yeah, 60 seconds is quite okay. So let's just say generate. So didn't work out of the box. It failed. So let's try the one for, I don't actually know why I'm having this internal server error. I could investigate to see actually what is happening behind. So you could see here, so there are some things that I still need to fix. So that means GLM couldn't just do it at once. So let's check out the other one. So this is for the other model. I think this is, so it just built a white UI. So I'm talking about the Qwen 9 billion model. So this model here, basically Qwen 3.59. As you can see, everything looks white. So here's where you type like the prompt. So in this case, I'm just going to paste it. And the place to generate the video, I had to kind of like highlight before I could see it. It's kind of hidden. I don't know why. The color didn't show the CSS. So crazy. It's actually processing. So it's actually processing the video. Let's see exactly what is happening. So this is actually fun. For this didn't even work out of the box, which is GLM 5.2. But I think the UI looks a little bit more balanced. So I'm still going to do like some work or kind of do like some repeated prompting before you kind of like get the clean result. And you could see here, we already have a job that is processed. Whether at the end of the day, successful or not. So you see here, it shows that the video, it has even completed for the 9 billion parameter model. So we can check the details, but I can't also see the video to play. So I just see the fact that it is completed. So I see a 60-second video, duration 60 seconds, but there is no place within the UI to actually play the video. So I could go back, but I can't play the video. So maybe when I click on the job, I still can't play the video. So the only thing I could do, maybe just check the project location here and maybe data project. Let's see whether we can see the video here. So I think we have like 3 projects here. So you see this video, it looks like for each of the project, at least we have a video. This is some video. So I could check this out internally in my system to see if I will be able to play the video. So at least there was a video being generated. Oh, for this, okay, sorry, this is not it. So this was during the testing. GLM actually also generated a video. So let me go back to the grandpa. This is it. So I think there should be a place. Let's see, shared script docs, backend. At least we have data. So I didn't actually see any location where the video is actually located. So even though it shows completed, some work still need to be done to kind of like go exactly. But this wasn't actually a bad job. So what do you think about the performance of these two models? I'm actually going to go ahead and fix both applications, but this is what you get like out of the box from these two models. To be very honest, I think I'm actually surprised with what this model has done. So it's not completely that bad. So it still has a place here to switch models. There's a fallback model. You could even switch TTS. Not bad. We could argue that we couldn't see the video. So I could prompt it back and say it should provide, but I think it shows that the whole thing was completed. So it even gave an ID to the video. So thank you. If you like this kind of content, subscribe to my channel. I will keep